All right, so you've trained hard, you've hit the workouts, you've run all the long runs, you've put in the miles, but that Boston qualifier, still out of reach. Here's the truth. It's not because you're not talented enough. It's because you're making one or more of the four mistakes that I've seen hundreds of runners who were right on the edge of qualifying make. I've coached over 150 athletes to their Boston qualifier, and these are the four biggest mistakes that made the difference, sometimes by minutes, for them qualifying or not qualifying. I've coached over 150 athletes to their Boston qualifier, and these are the four biggest fixes that made the difference, sometimes by minutes, so they qualified and were able to run Boston the following year. So if you've ever crossed the finish line and you were so close, what am I missing? Stay with me because this video is going to show you what's finally going to get there. For those of you who haven't followed along yet, I'm Grant Stachel, former national team running coach, mental performance coach, registered psychotherapist. Over the past 15 years, I've helped athletes from beginners to Olympians break through both in the physical and mental plateaus that they struggle with while running. But marathoners chasing the Boston Qualifier hold a special place for me because it's one of the hardest, most meaningful goals in the sport. More than 150 of my athletes that I run coach have qualified for Boston, and every single one of them fixed one of these four mistakes first. So, reason number one, you're not running enough. I know, sounds obvious, and it's an uncomfortable truth. Most runners chasing a BQ simply aren't running enough weekly volume. If you want to understand why running volume and easy running is so important, check out my video about easy running, but it's true. The marathon is an aerobic event, and you can't fake endurance on minimal miles a week. So you don't need elite mileage. You don't need to run what my, elites are running 100 plus miles a week, but you do need consistency and gradual progression. If you're stuck at 40 miles, how do we build you to 50 miles over time? If you're 3 runs a week, add a 4th easy day. And so when my athletes finally get that, BQ groove and they finally qualify, it wasn't because they found the perfect workout. It was because their weekly rhythm and volume finally supported marathon level endurance. Mileage doesn't just build fitness, it also builds durability. And that's what holds your form, your pace, and your mindset together when everybody starts to fall apart after mile 20. Reason number 2, you're running your easy days too fast. I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it because it's the biggest mistake I see on Strava every single day. If you're chasing Boston and you're hammering your easy days, you're training too hard. You're training tired. You're not training smart. Your easy run should be 60 to 90 seconds slower per mile than marathon pace, not 20, not 30, a full minute or more. For reference, one of my athletes, you can check out the podcast interview I did with him, Thomas Nobbs. He's chasing sub 212 at the marathon project this year. We're going to have a series coming out about that shortly. And he is running 452 to 455 per mile. His regular easy day is 8 minutes per mile. If he's getting benefit out of running that slow compared to marathon pace, you also can. And so when they finally slowed down, their hard workouts exploded. That quality took off. They recovered faster. They hit paces smoother. They started running within themselves, not against themselves. Number 3, you're not pacing the marathon properly. I see this all the time. You cannot bank time in a marathon. You can only borrow it and you pay it back with interest. Most missed BQs aren't about fitness. They're about pacing errors. Going out 5, 10, 15 seconds too fast for a mile in the first half feels harmless. It feels easy. I'm so far ahead. I've got this buffer because I know I'm going to blow up. But then it costs you exponentially in the second half. And so when I'm working with athletes, I build race plans and key workouts in their build that give us pacing windows, not exact targets. We should pace for the fitness we're in, not the result we would like. And so a 3:10 marathoner should open up around 7:25 to 7:30 per mile, not 7:15. You want it to almost feel too easy through the first 4 or 5 miles. That control early allows you to actually race the back half rather than hold on. And that's how Boston Qualifiers finish strong, not just fast. And so if you think about it, the marathon on a psychological level, you're pressing up against it in the later half. So if you've exhausted yourself and you've worked really hard, it's way harder to have that mental battle to fight back in the second half. But if you think about it this way, if you're a little bit behind in pace, but you hit mile 18, mile 20, mile 21, all of a sudden you're feeling really good. You're going, I'm going to do it. This is going to be great. I'm not dying like I normally am. That psychological advantage is going to boost you way forward in the back half. It's easier to pick up time in the back half, and it's easier to run a BQ if you've actually run smart in the first thing. Number 4, you are not fueling properly. This is the most fixable mistake, and it's the one that costs most races. If you've ever hit the wall, we're discovering this is why. Most runners underfuel by half or more, and they start carb depleted on race day. The research is clear, 60 to 90 grams minimum per hour during the marathon. Most runners take 1 or 2 25, 30 gram gels. So that's a 50% energy deficit in a race that demands full power, full energy. Fueling doesn't just start at mile 5. It starts the day before. If you're not carb loading properly, you're already behind. That's why I've built out the carb loading guide that I give to all my athletes and I'm giving away to everybody for free that breaks down exactly how you should fuel the day before your race by body weight and what you're trying to do. It also will give you a breakfast guide. It will also give you your fueling guide and how to build your fueling across your build. Grab it for free. The link's in the description below. Dial in your fueling and your fitness will finally have a fair shot to shine like you know it will. Okay, so 4 biggest reasons you're not hitting your BQ. Not running enough, running your easy days too fast, pacing poorly, and not feeling properly. As I noted, I've coached over 150 athletes to their Boston Qualifier. Every single one of them had to get those 4 things right. So when you build volume, respect your easy days. If you respect your easy days, it's easier to build volume. If you pace with discipline in your workouts, you recover faster, so it's easier to build volume and fuel like it matters. Everything clicks. The Boston Qualifier isn't just about luck, it's about precision. And if you can run smart, stay consistent, and fuel properly, you're much closer than you think. I'm told I should ask you to follow, subscribe, and like this video because apparently it helps more runners like you see my content. I would love if you could do that. I understand if you wouldn't, but it would really mean a lot to me if you did follow, comment, like, and download the free carb guide. There's no hidden paywall or anything like that. You just download it, you get it for free. I'd love for you to have it so you can help go crush that Boston Qualifier.